What's going on, everyone? Brand here from Bloody Breakdown. And if you're as big of a fan of Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon as I am, you're going to go head over heels over this news. I know I did. Man, in my opinion, this movie doesn't get enough recognition, doesn't get enough love. I absolutely adore Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. For me, this is one of those films that after I watched it immediately, I was like, wow, this is doing Scream stuff, which obviously most of you know I'm a huge fan of. It's doing it on a different level. It's doing it at a different pace. It's giving us kind of another side to that subgenre of the genre, and I just thought it was amazingly well done, well acted, well put together film. And I know there are a lot of fans of this film out there. Still speaking about Behind the Mask, but man, does it not get enough love. I think it justly deserves more. But for those who are fans of that incredible film, you'll be interested to note that there is a short film currently making the film festival rounds that is taking place in the same world as Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. Now, we've been wanting a sequel. There's been talks about a prequel, actually, called Before the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. Jesus, going back 10, 15 years ago, that's never come to fruition. No kind of supplemental information on the character or form of entertainment has ever really come to fruition. So this may be the closest thing we ever get, and this is some pretty big news. So let's go ahead and dig into the article here. It says a lot of fans have been anxiously waiting for more films set in the world of the 2006 meta slasher Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. With an even watch it here link. Maybe I will. Ever since that movie was released, the follow-up Before the Mask, The Return of Leslie Vernon, still hasn't managed to make it into production, but David J. Steve, who wrote Behind the Mask with Scott Glosserman, and also wrote the Before the Mask script years ago, so the script was written, has made a short film called Wait For It, which is said to be set in the world of Leslie Vernon. The short film is now making the festival rounds and has been screened at a handful of festivals so far, with more festival screenings coming up this fall. And that's what you love to hear. This movie is out. It's been made. Obviously, right now it's going to be a little difficult to watch with it only being screened at film festivals. But if this thing does well, if it garners any kind of interest, we'll probably see this thing on the outside world. To those of us who don't live anywhere near or can't make it to any kind of film festival, that would be incredible. So written and directed by Steve, Wait For It is said to be a loving deconstruction of the slasher genre. I'm already in love. Seen from the perspective of survivor girl Darcy, who is living in the aftermath of her own encounter with a psycho slasher killer. We follow Darcy as she travels home from a night out with friends, always remaining wary of the inevitable return of her tormentor. Lily Ann Harrison stars as Darcy and is joined in the cast by Ashley London and Nathan Basil. Yes, the actor who played Leslie Vernon himself. Now, whether or not Nathan is playing Leslie, I cannot speak to that. It does not go into any detail in this article if that's the case, but one would have to assume, if this is taking place in the same universe as Behind the Mask, that Nathan Basil would indeed be playing Leslie Vernon. That being said, that takes this thing up a notch from being just from sounding something like a fan film almost. I know it's not technically that, but it takes it to a totally different range for me personally. It's like seeing the second Tommy Jarvis, the one from Return of the Living Dead in Never Hike Alone. It's something akin to that. Like, that's super awesome to me. The short was produced by Amy Larson and Dan Serwanka, and Chris Jaworski, Steve Squilante. I'm sorry, I'm awful with names. Richard Stringham and Russ Trout serving as executive producers. Jaworski provided the following statement. After its initial announcement, we immediately had festivals reach out to us about submitting to them. We've already played at some, including the Portland Horror Film Festival, where David participated in a Q&A. It was very well received by an almost packed house. We're very grateful and looking forward to screening at more festivals we have lined up in the fall that we can't announce just yet. So that's good news right there, too, is that apparently this thing is getting out more and more. Packed houses, people are trying to get their eyes on this film, which, hey, I'm one of those people, so can't say that I blame them. The article goes on to say, Steve added that Wait For It is what I call an Easter basket of slasher moments. About how a survivor girl copes with the monotony of day-to-day life after her experience. That already sounds pretty cool to me. You get a different view of things, a different aside, as we always typically don't see from these type of films. I like that, and that's what I've liked about the first one. You get to see things from a different perspective. Always looking over her shoulder, always waiting for something to happen, because she knows one day her boogeyman will eventually return, but most days aren't that day. Wait for it. Let me explore this in a way that throws back to classic horror tropes with a Leslie Vernon style spin on it. Just by some of the descriptors I've heard about this, I'm already 100% in on this. Honestly, to be perfectly real with you, all you had to do was show me the headline of this thing, and I'm game. So Jaworski went on to say, after the WGA strike is over and the writers get a fair contract, we have several ideas of how to spin off this expansion to make more films in the Leslie Vernon universe. Jesus Christ. That right there. When you hear things like that, my initial thought is, that's fucking awesome. And then my second thought is, pay these people, pay these writers, pay these actors a fair living wage, because they've been getting fucked for far too long. They deserve it. And quite frankly, we deserve to see the projects that they're working on, that they have been putting their time, effort, energy, money, what have you into. So it's, just kind of throwing in my 2 cents there on this whole strike, but pay these fucking people. You fucking greedy, gelatinous tubes of shit. Please pay these people. Anyway, the positive reaction to it has definitely proven there is a loyal following who want more from this world, and we want to deliver that. So contact your local film festivals, especially the horror ones, and tell them you want to see Wait For It playing there. Do it, folks. I'll do it. I think if we all do it, maybe this thing can pick up some more traction, because I got to tell you, this is, for me, I've seen a lot of films turn into franchises over the last 15-20 years that should have been one and dones. Let's be real. I said it about Insidious just the other day. I say it about The Conjuring. Hell, The Conjuring could have been a none and done, if you ask me, and I'd have been perfectly fine with that. Yet you have films like Behind the Mask that are ripe for sequel, prequel, expansion potential, and you never see anything come of it. So this is good stuff. Let's hope this continues. So the article goes on to say, I fully agree with the filmmakers that the world needs more movies set in the world of Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, and I hope to see Wait For It lead to more expansions of this franchise. Me too. So there it is, and you even got a cool little poster here for Wait For It, which is really awesome. I like that. So there it is. Big news, folks. Big news. Like I said, if you're a fan of the Leslie Vernon stuff, you're like me, you're starved for more content when it comes to that franchise. It's literally been a one and done since 2006, so we're 17 years at this point that we've had no new Leslie Vernon content for a franchise that may have not been huge, but holy shit, the fan base that it had, including myself, are very passionate about it because it's so different, it's so interesting, so unique. And I think we would all, at least those of us who are wary of Leslie Vernon. We would all like to see more done in this franchise. So with that said, typical YouTube stuff, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this news. Let me know if you're excited for it or not. Like, share, subscribe, notifications, other YouTube jargon. And yeah, check the description section. There's a couple of links to follow me, to support the channel if either one of those things sound like something you'd be interested in doing. And with that said, I'm Bran, and this has been your bloody breakdown on the possible future of the Leslie Vernon franchise.